Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and we have something we haven't seen in a long time on this channel, and that is an honest-to-goodness Infinity release. I've always been a fan of Corvus Belli's stuff, it's just the paint jobs by Mr. Giraldes are way too nice and can be a little bit daunting to make me want to attempt to paint these models myself. Plus the fact that they were very spindly, fiddly metal things that often needed to be pinned with, you know, like 5 or 8 pieces for one single 25mm figure. But that's not the case here. We have a new tag, the Gator for the Nomads. Kind of a cool design. The funky screw head plating armor reminds me of something out of like the Conquest models, which is cool. But this is also going to be one of the first times I've had a chance to build one of these models that's made out of the Cyocast stuff. So I wasn't aware at first, but when I read that it was actually a Cyocast model rather than metal, I was like, huh. I've had my Salamandra for a while, and it's one of my favorite little models, but it was a pain to build, and so I was kind of eager to see what these are like. So without further ado, let us figure out how to open it. This is something you learn when you do that. Okay, there we go. Like, I know I cut the plastic right before I filmed it. I haven't even had a chance to open it myself yet, so I'm curious to see what this is like. Can he get it out of the box? There we go. Okay. And with bated breath, dun, 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 dun. Okay. 50mm base? I'm guessing. Feels like it. Probably. We got 3 bags of stuff. Interesting, it's got like a textured pattern like he's wearing pants underneath that. The main body itself. At times, to me, this Cyocast stuff feels a lot like one of the early board game plastic stuff that Mantic was doing. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't really have a problem with it. And as always, without fail, with a Corvus Belli model, I have to try to figure out what's actually supposed to be removed and what's not. I'm guessing those are little casting gates. A little bit of cleanup might be necessary there. Wouldn't be an Infinity model without it. I'm hoping this is just leftover flash. What do we got in here? First bag we're opening looks to have gun parts, arm parts, and I want to say these are either the shoulders or the knees. Probably the shoulders. Like so. Pew, pew, pew. Control de calidad. All right, what do we got here? Driver hands. I'm assuming these are torso chunks for the exterior armor. And what seems to be spare magazines or another gun with big heavy magazines sticking out of it. And our final baggie contains, I'm assuming this is the back of the body. This is the front of the body. I mean, the casting quality is nice. You can see a close-up of my thumb. That close. I mean, yeah, it's going to get a little fuzzy here and there, but it looks pretty sharp. One of my issues with the Siocast stuff is sometimes the pieces don't want to fit correctly, much like that board game PVC Restic mix that we experienced early on in the heady days of early Kickstarters. But, I mean, other than the fact that the actual material is a bit different, I feel like not a whole lot has changed in terms of content. That looks like a pretty typical Infinity kit in terms of part layout. So I'm not too sussed about having to get this guy built. Hopefully all the pieces are going to go together correctly. I guess my only real issue is, you know, for a change in material, I would have liked to have seen a change in the price. But, you know, how dare the consumer ever want to have a good deal, right? I'd shop around. I got a pretty good deal on this, I think. So I'm not too negative in store. I mean, this isn't a GW kit. It's not going to be necessarily as big as a GW kit either, so that's something to bear in mind with the Infinity stuff. But, you know, with all of the current sci-fi rule sets out there, even if you're not necessarily into the game of Infinity, the aesthetics are something I've always liked, especially when they had a way heavier kind of Shiro Masamune influence going on with a lot of that early mech stuff, especially the tags. But it's always something I've liked. So hopefully we will get this thing built and we'll take a look and we'll grab whatever we can find handy to see how it compares. So sit tight. All right, our Gator is all put together here. For the most part, things went pretty smoothly. You can see there is still a little bit of cleanup here and there that I might have missed. Always seems to be the case when filming these things. A little bit of cleanup there around the shoulder pad, probably. Hadn't noticed at first. It looks like he's got almost a cloth jumpsuit of some sort, or there's like a cloth undercoating beneath the armor, just in terms of the folds and wrinkles there. Again, I need to clean that up. Overall, pretty sharp casting. I gotta say, there's a significant less amount of heft to him in comparison to, like, say, the Salamandra here. Also a Nomads tag model that I painted ages ago. That I think I tried to do originally with contrast, and it just didn't turn out the way I liked. But this is a heavy model. And this is kind of like my expectation of what I'm going to get myself into when dealing with an Infinity tag. Funny enough, I don't think I have any human-sized Infinity models in my collection currently. I painted some quite a while back. I'm going to have to fix that, I guess. I do have a blackjack hanging around here. If you want to see some size comparisons between various machines. Again, you know, while it's obviously for Infinity and is going to have rules for it, I think it's going to be a great model. All of these are going to be great models, really, for any type of tabletop game where you're going to have giant mechs. Because why not, right? Why would you not want to have giant robots stomping around, shooting stuff? So things like 5 Parsecs, Space Weirdos, Planet 28, those are the ones that just pop to my head. Stargrave pretty quickly, that, you know, you might find Xenos rampant, as I keep rattling off things instead of actually finishing the train of thought here. I definitely can see this being a quite versatile model for games like that. So it's not overtly huge, grabbing a Marine and a Orlok Necromundin here, just to give you guys a good idea of what to expect. I mean, if you wanted to run it as a Dreadnought or something equivalent for, you know, like a one-page rules type army, I could totally see that. Why is the camera doing that crazy, like, adjusting? I don't know. But you wanted to throw in, like, some more Games Atlantic stuff. I think a nice cohesive paint scheme for everybody is going to really help tie things together. And I will admit, I was a little reluctant to deal with the Siocast material. Just the last few times I've used it for smaller figures, it's been kind of a pain. You know, it gives me flashbacks to, like I said, the earlier Restic resin PVC blends that we got with a lot of the early big pile of minis Kickstarter campaigns from various companies, but I mean, everything really went together well, I gotta say. I did have a bit of a tough time getting all of the bits for the torso aligned, just getting everything to sit in there, but I didn't have to heat anything up, I didn't have to recut anything, everything really just kind of clicked into place. The parts for the pilot's arms, there's a tiny, tiny indentation where they actually slot in on the torso. It took me a while to find them, actually, so be aware there are spots for them if you do grab one of these and you cannot figure it out where it's supposed to go. So I gotta say, for my first Siocast Infinity model, first Infinity model in quite some time, I guess there is a little bit of a gap right here on the back of the torso. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal breaker. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I'm pretty pleased with the results. Like I said, I was a bit reluctant at first to deal with it. Obviously, you need to be glued down to that base. That's okay. But overall, it's a nice, solid model. Maybe we'll just chuck that tab and get him glued. Oh, speaking of that tab, I should have been paying more attention because you can see here that there are facing embossments. There's the other one. All along the various facings of the base itself. So I wasn't paying attention because that's most likely supposed to be the front. And obviously the side arcs, flanks, whatever you want to call them in Infinity, I don't remember. So I should have done it like that, but I didn't. So, silly me. I don't know. Like I said, I might just have to cut off that tab because it's going to bug me for ages on end. Like I said, pleased with the results. I'm not sure which material I prefer my tags in. Curious to see if we're going to see smaller models in the Siocast material as well. I think they had some for some of the Kickstarter campaigns for Defiance. I didn't back it. It was a little rich for my blood, considering like all the other stuff I buy here, right? No, I don't ascribe to the Infinity stuff as much as other family members do, and just the fiddliness of the metals was a big hesitation for me. But if we're going to see nice, sharply cast stuff in Siocast, I'll admit I'm going to give it another look, I think. So hopefully we'll see some more Infinity stuff in the future on this channel. So with that said, this has been High Lord Tamerlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.